Alright, thank you so much guys for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking over Dragonflight leveling and talk about a lot of tips, tricks that you can use for yourself, as well as all of the cool add-ons you can use to help yourself speed up the leveling process and make it a lot easier and more convenient for yourself. Today's stream is sponsored by Curseforge, which is the best add-on manager out there. So make sure to check that out. You'll be able to download all of the add-ons we'll be talking about on Curseforge. You can check out Curseforge in the bio below on any Echo stream, for example, Robin's right now, or type !Curseforge in the chat.
Curseforge. Right. There we have it. There we have it.
And yes, that's enough sellout for now. Let's move on to all of the good stuff.
I agree.
Is of course very good stuff as well. And yeah, I mean, without that, it would be a pain in the ass downloading and updating add-ons. So you should definitely check it out if you haven't already.
I thought we would start with where's my sheet? There it is. With gearing your character for leveling, and how impactful it is to actually have good gear and having speed items. I have a lot of speed items. These are all BOEs, but how impactful would you say speed items are? Think it makes you level a lot faster?
Yeah, so speed items is a really good additional stats for leveling. There's another stat that I also think that is a pretty high value. Also depends on what class you're playing, but I do think that the Leech is also really, really powerful. Especially as you progress through higher and higher levels. If you do really, really big pulls, unless you're a class that has a baseline a lot of Leech or a hybrid who can heal a lot. But of course, speed items just get you from A to B quicker. There's also items like Gunshoes.
Yeah, we're gonna get that. Yeah,
I will not go into specifics, but there's certain items you can use that scales with speed as well. So speed is of course a really, really good item for speed leveling in general. If you can get your hands on some BOEs on the auction house with speed, if you have a little bit extra gold, then I would recommend definitely getting a couple.
Yeah, no, I agree. But and like I said, I think Leech is something I noticed when I got to like higher levels, maybe like 66 or 67. If you're questing like by yourself, but you're not even if you're a hybrid, it just feels bad. I mean, like after you do a big pull, if you have to like stand and like up or heal yourself up, just lose a lot of time, right? If you're really try-harding leveling, there's also speed. When you get higher level, you get less value out of the stats, just like anything. But I'm thinking about if I would get some Leech items, I would maybe equip these on a later level, because I think Leech is probably more powerful than speed if you don't have to heal in between pool. But it really depends on your strat. If your strat is tailored around mobs, Leech is really beneficial. If you only want to run between objectives, then no. A lot. And then gearing, what do you think? How impactful is gearing? Have you been leveling anything with like worse gear? Because I've been leveling a bit with like, I think when I started leveling, I was like 80. And now my druid is like 300. Am I cutting out? Okay, maybe we can just fix it.
I mean, I tried like leveling the first time when you could not copy your character, and you got like this scoffed ass character with I'm not sure what it was, like 230 or 180 item level. That was fully shambled. I would say that getting your hands on some gear will help you level a lot, especially as you progress into the higher levels.
Wait, was it actually 180?
It was, I don't know what, yeah, I think it's like 180.
180.
Crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's so bad. I remember I was leveling, it was so bad. And someone killed me with warmode that like over and over again, and I just all fort.
I remember this. People came into my stream and they were like, "Bro, my rage quit. Got ganked by an alliance guy over and over."
It was so bad. So yeah, getting some gear will help you speed up and just make the leveling a lot faster and easier. Definitely, you don't need crazy 305 item level. I think if you're like heroic item level or something, is more than enough to like have a smooth leveling in Dragonflight all the way up. As you get up to like 67, 68, you will also get some upgrades from the quests. Since legendaries and tier are no longer working, you can also go for some just better stats and skip out on the tier sets as well.
And how much stats do you think is worth dropping on, let's say you have 3 or 4 legs, right? And then, oh, I got 291 speed legs. How low would you drop your item level for speed? Okay. So I've been thinking about that a lot as well, that you can get a lot of speed items from like the pre-patch event and stuff, but they kind of low item level, and I don't know how much, how worth it is actually dropping like 30 item level just to get, speed on, 10 pieces, right?
It has a diminishing return, for sure. You can go for maybe 1 movement speed gem. One stat that I think is like really, really nice for leveling is haste. Having the faster globals, I feel feels like very smooth to play, especially as a druid, like who you normally say for DPS, mastery would be like your best stat. But in order to get mastery value, you also need to have Moonfire and Sunfire applied to all targets, which you'll get a lot less value from in the lower levels. But as you get into high and higher levels, that mastery value becomes a lot better. Whereas I would say the faster globals early on feels better as well to get into, like Boomkins, I would say have a little bit more of a ramp normally.
Yeah.
But the haste just feels good. So, in some situations, maybe going for like a DPS gem versus a speed gem would be a little bit better, but it's so small in the big picture, it's like
of course.
Very minor. Yeah.
And then the next thing I thought we talk about is like trinket choices. Because there's a lot of trinkets that are like, considered really good for raiding or M+ or whatever. Like, for example, Old Warrior Soul, if you're a strength user. And it's fast. Sylvanas, right? Is considered like the best trinket for raiding and M+ and stuff. But when you're leveling, and if you drop these stacks in between combat all the time, this trinket, loses a ton of value, right? And what do you feel about trinkets? Because I feel like it's really good to have like one on use that you can pair either with your cooldowns or like a big single target kind of nuke trinket, maybe from Castle, Sire, called the Dreadfire Vessel. If there's like one big target you need to kill, and then just like one with stat sticks or something that doesn't lose value if you drop combat. I think there's like the caster trinket as well, right? From KT is similar. It builds stacks like while you're in combat, right? So like when you use abilities. This one, the Necromantic Tome, right?
I would say that it depends, of course, a little bit on the class, what you're playing. But like Dreadfire Vessel is, I think, probably the most insane trinket for leveling.
Yeah.
It's so good. When you're hitting like a high HP mob or something, and you have a Dreadfire Vessel for that, that's kind of where you slow down. Since doing a massive pull and you just rot everything down, Dreadfire Vessel is not good for that. But when you go in and kill a rare mob or a big HP mob for like a specific quest or something, having a Dreadfire Vessel there, it just completely destroys them. So I think that's a super good trinket to have.
Yeah, and then I also want to touch upon the movement speed gems. I think I have 2 of them in my bag. So for example, there's 2 BFA gems. This is Straddling Sage Agate, and then there's another one, I think it's the Straddling Viridium. People always say like you should play these. Worth noting is that these have actually been nerfed on the beta. I think the rare version only gives 16. They give like a flat amount, like the Shadowlands gem that gives you 3 speed for each Shadowlands gem you have equipped. These old gems, I'm gonna call them, now gives, I think the rare one gives 16 speed flat, and I think the uncommon, the green version, I think it actually gives 24. It gives more for some reason. But I have a hard time believing it's worth going with these, because you gain 16 speed, right, from old gem, but if you just have a haste gem instead, you get 13 speed from the Shadowlands version. I think these old gems are kind of dead now after this change, and I think you only want to use the straddling jewel from Shadowlands, and then just go with whatever stat you want to play, haste, mastery, verse, or.
No, I agree. I agree. That the old gem was really good when it was 5% flat out movement speed. Whereas now you just probably go with maybe just the straddling jewel, and the rest would just be like DPS gems.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I agree.
And then I think that's it when it comes to gearing. Is there anything else you can think about when it comes to gearing? Obviously, 4 pieces is going to be gone. It's not going to be working. Something worth adding maybe is to find replacement for your legendaries, because they are low item level and they won't be working in Dragonflight. So once you enter, I don't know if it's once you enter the zone or if it's once you hit 61. Actually, I haven't fully checked that. They won't be working anymore. So you definitely want to have a backup for your legendary slot. So yeah, I have it in my ring, right? I would probably want to use a 304 ring instead, since this will be kind of useless and is low item level.
Yeah, but there's one more as well. Also for most casters, from level 61 onwards, your Rygolon dagger will no longer work either. So those are the 2 things you should be looking to replace. Have something to replace your Rygolon dagger, as well as your legendaries to get some high item level in those slots.
What about
Gavel?
I think Gavel is probably, if Rygolon dagger doesn't work, I think Gavel is probably gonna be the same, right? It doesn't work. I haven't
been looking at Gavel.
Yeah, I haven't been leveling my DK either, so I actually don't know. Does anyone in the stream know maybe if Gavel still works? And okay, Gavel works, apparently. Okay. That's kind of weird though, that if the Rygolon dagger doesn't work, but Gavel works. And I would maybe go for, like, expect them to fix it, but I mean, I don't know. If it works, you would want to play with Gavel, of course, but if they actually do nerf it, it's better. You're better off just having a Jathis or whatever instead. Only time can tell on that one, I guess. Okay, you want to move on to like speed items? This is where you touched upon earlier with like the Gunshoes. Just gonna go through like all the, or like generally like consumables and speed items.
Yeah, we can go over the consumables, right? That's next in line.
Yeah, it's like consumables and speed items, and like the top of the list is stuff you should get that is easy, and then like the further down the list you go, the more extreme it kind of becomes, and more min-maxing. And if you're not going for world first 70 or whatever, you might want to skip some of these items because they're kind of annoying to get.
Yeah, I mean, of course, speaking about consumables, you have flasks, of course. That one is super high value, lasts a long time. You don't need that many of them. I would recommend as well, while you are questing, your bags will be filled up quite a lot. So try and, maybe have like 1 stack of some of the things that will last you for the entirety of the leveling. So like 1 stack of flask will only fill 1 slot in your bags and carry you the whole way. So try and like manage that, because of course having to sell stuff during your leveling will slow you down a little bit. This is just me talking about, min-maxing here. You can play it at your own pace, but saving some bag space will have it so that you don't have to constantly sell items as you're questing. Yeah, you have the augment runes. If you don't have the infinite one, then I mean, again,
I actually don't have any
20 hours of augment runes is more than sufficient. So 1 stack of that is all you need. You have the weapon oil / sharpening stones. You have your DPS potions. This is one that maybe a lot of you might not know about. You have something called fried bonefish, which is something about an auction house. And it's just a well-fed buff, but instead of giving you stats, every time you kill a mob, you will get additional speed for a short time after killing them.
I think it's 20%, right? You get, maybe it's less or more. I think it's around 20% you get.
You get 263 speed.
Okay, is it equivalent to 21%? But obviously, if you have speed already, it DRs. But still, 263 speed after you kill a mob is pretty good. Pretty good. I would definitely play this over any stat food while leveling.
And if you're not a bloodlust class, you can bring out the drums to get another 15% haste every 10 minutes. You have your armor kits, and then you have if you're gonna be swapping out some of your gear as you're leveling, you can maybe have a couple enchants in your bag as well to just enchant the item as you get the upgrades.
Yeah.
And there's one more item as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regarding the enchants, I would definitely, if you don't have like full bis, and if you have like 290, you will 100% replace your items as you get higher level. And enchants right now are, I don't even know the price of these, but they're super cheap. So just having like probably like 2 of each, maybe you see like the stats is 4 gold. You definitely want to have these in your bag, because if you get an upgrade, you would feel really bad if you cannot use it because you don't have an enchant. Yeah.
Yes, there was just one more consumable item that I actually, you do have it further down the list. I just thought it made sense to add this in the consumable space. Is the Shadowberries. Shadowberry is an item that heals you for 2% of your maximum health every 5 seconds for 1 minute, and it has a 10-second cooldown. So you can have 100% uptime in it. It kind of works a little bit like Ysera's gift, just on yourself, which is a little bit of some passive regen. And this is an item you get from a rare called Mother something.
Mother Umbra in Shadowmoon Valley.
Yeah, in Shadowmoon Valley, exactly. And you can kill this rare over and over again, and it drops 1 to 3 Shadowberries every time you kill it. It has a very short spawn timer. I think it's like 30 seconds or something. So you can just stack up on like a little bit of those, and then you will have something that can give you a little bit of a passive heal, which can help out.
Yeah.
So that can also be a bit helpful.
Do you think it's smart to like bind this to like a 1 minute cooldown you have maybe, so you always have it up if you have enough? I'm thinking like I could probably bind this to like Convoke, you know, because I don't think it's not a global cooldown item, right? And if I have enough of these, I could just bind them, but it might be overkill as well, you know.
I would say that is overkill. It depends. It will also fill up your bag space quite a lot if you do have a ton of them. So it depends on how much you want to kill this rare. Since if you don't want to, kill it like hundreds of times, then I'd suggest just having a keybind separate from a 1 minute cooldown. So you use it during useful moments, right? When you go into a big pull, it's a good time to press it.
Yeah, for sure.
You could do something fancy like maybe together with your XP banners, you could macro it into. It's just something small maybe. Because when you're doing XP banners, you're doing a massive pull. And that's usually maybe a good time. Then you won't forget it.
Yeah. Because I'm always afraid when you have so many different items, it's very easy to forget to use 1 out of the 10 items you're supposed to be, keeping up or looking out for. That's also why I made this Weakauras, because I felt like on the beta, I was kind of lost with all my items. So it's nice to just have everything in one place, pretty much. Right, first item I think you should be getting are Gunshoes. You can just buy these off the auction house. They're usually not that expensive, but after this video they might be. So you probably want to hurry up and get some. Now I'm just gonna showcase what they do. Never mind, I'm not, because my game is broken. / use Gunshoes. Here we go. Yeah, they just increase your movement speed. They do stack with other movement speed abilities, so if you're a druid and you go cat form while using Gunshoes, the Gunshoes become faster.
Show the slow walk tech.
I don't have it
while you can turn in quest.
I don't have it bound on my character.
Okay, sad.
Okay. Oh, we can do it without the mount. Okay, let's move on. I will show it without the mount. But you can do the same with Gunshoe. You wanna definitely get a good keybind for toggle run / walk. Because if you toggle walking while Gunshoes or other speed items are active, they become very slow, so you don't have to, cancel the buff you have from the item. You can just toggle speed or toggle walking instead, turn in the quest, and then keep using the item after. Moving down the list, we have the Tuft of Fir. Yeah, if you toggle walking, you see I'm toggling walking here, the mount greatly slows down. So if you want to speak with this guy and you have a quest to turn in, just toggle walking, you speak with the guy, and then you toggle running again. And then we have a similar item. It actually works exactly the same way, which is called oddly shaped horn. They are literally the same item, work exactly the same. You get these in MOP from killing 2 different rare mobs. They are unique, so you can only have 1 of them in your bag. They have 3 charges each, so you can use these 3 times. Very handy to have. Definitely recommend getting these. They are very easy to get, so yeah, definitely get them. I don't know, Mike, you probably know a lot about this, but this one is a lot more annoying to get. You can buy this one on the auction house, but it's generally very expensive. But it's working the same way as the other ones. Also has 3 charges. The only thing you cannot do the toggle walk with this item, so you cannot slow down your movement speed. So if you wanna, halfway through using this item, wanna talk to someone, it's gonna be very painful. This order. So plan around when you use that item, so you don't have to talk to an NPC midway through. A small trick you could do with a Addon axe, if you actually do have 2 of it, you could have one in your mailbox and have one in your inventory, and then once you use the first one, you can just have a toy for your mail, and then pick up the next one from the mail, right? And then you have 2 of them. Yeah. And it's called Cracked Addon Axe Control Gem. Yes.
And there's 2 mailboxes you can use. There is the Katie, which is from a quest chain in Dalaran, or from engineering, you can get the Molly, which is a shorter cooldown mailbox. This item, like Robin said, costs a lot in the auction house, but you can farm it once per day. Well, pretty much I think there's 3 rares in Argus that drop this item, and some days they're up, some days they aren't, but you can farm it on several characters if you want to, and then you can just send it to the character you want the item on, and then it will be in the mailbox. It is unique in the bag, but a lot of people might have known that there was a trick back in the day where you had a ton of rapid charms and flash fire brews, which worked the same way for island expeditions. And you can do the same thing with the item here with the Cracked Addon Axe. So you can have some in the bag, well, pretty much 3 charges in the bag, and then you can have more in the mailbox, and then you will just pop the mailboxes whenever you run out, and then get some new ones, so you have a fast mount all the time. But like Robin said, you cannot toggle slow walk on this one, and I also recommend a Leave Miracle Keybind to get off it if you need to.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like it proves it.
But yeah, it's a really cool item. Next up, we have the Guild Experience banners, and there's 3 of these. There's a 15% XP one, there is a 10% and a 5%. And if you are leveling with a guildmate, you will both give each other the buff of the banner. So if you do have maybe a partner that you play with, if you're in the same guild, you'll be able to pop banners for each other. So you'll have overall more banner uptime. And it just gives you 15% more experience from killing mobs.
Exactly.
So I recommend...
Except
not from quest. I recommend pressing it when you're doing a massive pull in an area. You pop the banner. It has very big range. I believe it's 100 yards. So you'll be able to kill a ton of mobs in a big area and get an additional 5 to 15% extra XP from killing those mobs based on what banner that you press.
And how do you get these
Next
items,
up,
Mike? Before we people
of course. You simply go to the guild vendor and purchase it. Bear in mind that you need to have obtained some of them through guild achievements, so if you don't see all 3 of them available, it might mean that your guild currently does not have the achievement. There's one way out of this, is that you can join another guild temporarily, buy the item, and then swap back to your own guild. You might lose your guild reputation, so you might have to farm that up a little bit though, in order to purchase it. So that's a little bit of something.
Yeah, last thing I want to add about the banners is that if you mouse over them, and whenever you wow with these items, they say you only need friendly. And that is to use the item. I thought it was required to be friendly, because I just joined Echo on my druid. I formed friendly guild rep. I ran to Goram here to buy the banner. I could not buy the banner. So to buy the banners, you need to be honored with your current guild. But once you have bought the banners, for example, then you could leave the guild, join another guild, and as long as you're friendly with the new guild, you can still use the banners.
The next one is an item that is a pain in the ass to get.
Okay. Oh no, is it?
Oh my god. Falling Flame. Falling Flame is an item you get from a rare in Timeless Isle. It is a 2% drop chance, and it is pretty much what it does is that it launches you at very high speeds, and combined with Goblin Glider, you'll be able to fly a massive distance while controlling your character. Pressing Falling Flame by itself, you'll be launched very far in a straight line towards the way you're facing, but you won't be able to move your character left and right. Pressing Goblin Glider before you use it, and then Falling Flame will allow you to move it, as well as slow down, dropping down to the ground. You'll be able to get a further distance, which makes it a really, really good item to travel long distances. And you'll be able to save some energy using your dragon riding, but it is actually faster than dragon riding. I don't think there's an item that is faster than Falling Flame existing in the game. It is a 1 hour cooldown with 50 charges, but again, 2% drop chance.
Yeah, it's really painful.
Yeah, you can layer hop between different realms, but you will see that if you go to Timeless Isle now, there's a lot of people farming this item, so there will be fight for the rares. And since it's a low level rare, it's whoever gets the tag first that gets it. So it's pretty annoying. Layer hop to low populated realms with warmode is the easiest way to, find it. You can cheese this with class trial accounts to layer hop yourself, but unless you're really going for a speed leveling run, I wouldn't recommend getting this item because it's super annoying to get.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I'm gonna use the item one time and you can see what it does. If my keybinds work, they work. So with combination with the glider, you see it also slows down your falling speed, how fast you reach the ground. So you can get really far with one use of this item. And then if you need to land simply and you're traveling too far, you simply just you want to have a cancel or a goblin glider. You cancel the glider and you start falling a lot faster to the ground. You never take falling damage even though you cancel your glider. But it is an insane item if you need to travel far. You see, I don't know, I traveled from Orgrimmar to the south of, what is it called here, Durotar in, I don't know, 10 seconds, 15 maybe. It's really crazy.
Next in line is the Checkered Flag. So Checkered Flag is an item you get from the Darkmoon Fair. The Darkmoon Fair will be up on the 6th of November. So you'll be able to get this item before the expansion comes out. And you just have to do an achievement in Darkmoon Fair, which then gives you an item with 50 charges that increases your mount speed by 30% for 10 minutes on a 10-minute cooldown. Now, this item also scales with your dragon riding, so you'll be riding a dragon at 30% increased speed. Same with ground mounts as well. Bear in mind that this percentage values, they do not scale with other movement speeds, which means that if you are a paladin with Crusader Aura, or you are in a guild, you also have the additional movement speed from mount up, things like that. Or there is the stacking mount speed item that goes up to 5 stacks with 50% movement speed, but has a chance to disorient the mount. There's also
I would
that
not
one.
be using that though. But yeah.
Don't use that one, but all of these items don't stack with each other.
Yes.
So it's just a flat out 30% movement speed, mount speed, but it's really good to get.
Also worth adding before we move on, it does not work with Druid travel form, for example. I don't know if you would be using a normal mount as a Druid because of this item. I highly doubt so. But even once you get your dragon flying, if you're a Druid, you still want to get it because it works with your dragon flying, right? Then you're gonna be using that all the time.
Yeah, you'd have to travel a long distance for a standard mount to be worth over travel form, right? And a lot of times in the downtime where you would have to travel far, you have your Gunshoes or you have your speed mounts as well to cover those speeds, and then dragon riding later on. So you don't really travel form a lot except for shorter distances. I felt like.
I didn't notice myself actually, but I think people have told me that this is a once per character item. So if you had this item previously on the same character in like a previous expansion or whatever, you cannot get it again. I'm not gonna confirm that this is true, but it's what people have been telling me. So if you have this item in your bag or you've used it before on that character, you will most likely not be able to get another one.
The next one is another guild item, which is the Cloak of Coordination. There is 3 different ones. There is, what it pretty much does is that it teleports you to Stormwind if you are an Alliance player, or Orgrimmar if you play Horde. There is an epic version with a 2-hour cooldown, and what's called a blue version, 4-hour, and a green version that's 8-hour cooldown. You don't need 3 cloaks, as you maybe just need 1, maybe 2 if for specific reasons. If you need to go back to Stormwind for, I don't know, maybe a special strat you have, or maybe you're leveling during like a world event and you want to pick up another XP buff, something like that, like Dark Moon Fair. You can have 1 to go back after it drops off. But yeah, that one is pretty handy to get. To just get back to the capital city, because that is where you will begin the campaign that takes you to Dragonflight.
Yeah, and the main reason I listed this item is because war mode is obviously gonna be 10% more experience. Now on the detail, but it's still 10% in Dragonflight as well. The issue with war mode is that Dragon Isles, you're gonna see that I think Hordes starts up here, and I think Alliance starts down here. And after the first like 3 initial quests, the story campaign for both Horde and Alliance is the same. So you will run into, if you're playing Alliance, you'll run into Horde people and vice versa, right? Once you hit the first small base camp here. And if you're not ahead of the pack and you have to fight the opposite faction all the time, Horde mode is not really that efficient, even though it gives you 10% experience. So that's why I recommend having the Orgrimmar Cloak, because you could start off with war mode on, and then if you feel like, or you get ganked or whatever, that I don't want to play war mode anymore, you could just run into an inn and disable war mode, right? But then the issue becomes that if you then get ahead later on, and you feel like, oh, there's no one here, I definitely want to play with war mode, you need to go to Orgrimmar to be able to enable war mode. That's why the cloak is really handy. Because once that happens, you just quickly set Hearthstone and whatever camp you're at. Currently in Dragonflight, right? You use a cloak, you get to Orgrimmar, and then you Hearth back, and you have war mode back. That's why I think that item is it's a good item to have. It gives you a bit of freedom with the war mode. And then it's up to you if you want to play with war mode or without. Alright.
Yeah. If you see that you're getting ganked over and over again, you know, maybe you want to go back to Ironforge or Stormwind quick and turn it off, right?
Oh, turn it off you can do... yeah, turn it off you can do as long as you're in a rested area. That's no issue. It's just if you want to turn it back on later. So if you do turn it off, you just do it in the first inn you reach. But then, if you do get ahead and you want to turn it back on, you need to go to either Orgrimmar or Stormwind, depending on what faction you play, and then that's where this, the cloak to port to Orgrimmar while having Hearthstone in the base camp you're in Dragonflight is very nice to have.
Yeah, another point to make regarding war mode is that if you are leveling with a couple people or a partner, war mode will feel a lot better. If you're a solo player and you won into a pre-made group questing, they could go ahead and gank you for fun and you couldn't really do anything about it. But if you're paired up with some friends, there is a less chance of you getting ganked while you're leveling.
Okay, moving on. We have 2 engineering old expansion items. The first one I'm gonna touch upon is the Rocket Boots Extreme. This is a TBC. Kinda works the same way as Nitro Boots. Has a 5-minute cooldown. But what's great about this item is that it's a TBC item, and before moving on, you want to make sure that you buy or craft the item, the worst version of this item. Because if you do, you can enchant these boots with it's called minor speed. Yeah, it's called minor speed. This is I think it's a TBC or classic enchant, which basically gives you 10% movement speed. It's a classic item, not TBC. Oh, okay, it's a classic item. No, it requires outland engineering. I think it's a TBC item. It doesn't matter. It's called Rocket Boots Extreme. And if you have the item level 32 version of this item, you can enchant it with Enchant Boost Minor Speed, which boosts your movement speed with another an additional 10%, which is going to be very handy in the beginning, because speed in the first, I would say like 3-4 levels maybe, is a lot better than just, high item level, at least on one item like your boots. Because if you have, really good gear, you're gonna kill the mob so fast anyway that 10% movement speed plus. I'm not gonna use this item now because I don't know if I'm gonna be playing my druid yet. But it's basically like another Nitro boost on a 5-minute cooldown you can use. The next item is Nitro boosts, which is, so yeah, I forgot to add. You need engineering for this item. You need outland engineering. You need 30 skill to be able to use it. So you definitely want to get that. And then the next item is you can enchant your belt with. It's called Nitro boosts. This one is from Northrend. It works similar to Rocket Boost Extreme. You tinker your belt with this enchant. You need 30 Northrend engineering for this one. And this one I can use because I already have it on my belt. Basically, just gives you a 5-second speed increase on a 2-minute cooldown. Definitely worth getting. The Rocket Boots Extreme are a bit more, they're a bit more annoying to get, and it has a 5-minute cooldown, and you need to have this item equipped, which means you cannot have your 304 or 311 boots instead. So it's up to you if you want to use the Rocket Boots Extreme. But
it goes on a 30-second cooldown as well, right? When you equip it?
Yes, it does. You cannot insta-equip and then insta-use them. You need to equip them and then 30 seconds later use them. But my plan was probably to have these equipped all the time, the first 2-3 levels. Just because of the 10% movement speed and chant I have on them. And I feel like additional stats early on doesn't really do too much because I pretty much almost one-shot every mob anyway.
But there was one more engineering item you missed out on, which is the Looter Rang.
True.
From Cataclysm Engineering, which is an item that you just use, 3-second cooldown, and it loots everything from range. So you don't have to go and melee off them up in order to loot them. You just press Looter Rang and then you loot everything from range. Super handy to have and saves you time from having to run to mobs.
Moving on, what was next in line here? Addons. Let me open up Curseforge. Exclamation mark Curseforge in the chat, boys, if you're looking for an add-on manager. Very good add-on, program to update and find new add-ons. Yeah.
A couple add-ons that I have been using is Leatrix Plus and Leatrix Map.
If you just go through because that's kind of like a leveling add-on, right? Like a guide. I'm thinking we touch on that first, because I know a few add-ons that do work that are similar to Azeroth Autopilot. Then the first one I'm gonna be talking about is Guide Lime. I think the name is Guide Lime. I have it, I think, on the beta. Guide Lime, maybe I removed it.
Would you say that this is a good route or?
I don't know. I've heard it's good. Guide Lime. It is a free version, just like Azeroth Autopilot. I know one of my UI people is making a guide in this add-on right now. So if you want to make your own guide, you can also do that. But it is free, and it's I've heard good things about it, but I haven't played with it myself. And then you obviously have add-ons that are you have to pay for to get. Like I think it's Cygor, right? And then Rested XP. There are also like guides you could use, but they're gated behind a paywall. I haven't used Cygor, for example, myself, so I don't know how good it is. But it's up to you. You can check out all of them and whatever you feel like is worth doing. There's probably more add-ons out there. I don't know if somebody's typing WoW Pro. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's on the beta. I can't find it. But there's like still a bunch of kind of in-game, add-ons that help you with leveling and tells you where to go and what to do.
Some of the add-ons that I have been using, first off, is Leatrix Plus. Leatrix Plus is a convenient add-on that allows you to have a lot of different things like within the game. It can allow you to automatically skip cinematics, automatically accept and turn in quests, automate gossip. Some of the functions are not working though, exactly how you want it to on beta just yet, but it does have a lot of cool functions. There's also Leatrix maps, which I use.
One
which is
sec
in
before you
addition
continue.
to...
How do I get
Okay.
it showing in game in beta?
You just have to press on the blue thing on
my
the
map.
minimap. Yeah. So you can go through some of the functions that it has easier through there. So automation, as you can see, automate quest, automate gossip. I would say that some of the quests regarding the automate gossip you don't always want, because it has more than one gossip like choice you can pick, and some of them doesn't progress the quest line, so it's not always good to have.
You're saying you want to
so that
uncheck
one-
this one maybe to...
I would uncheck automate gossip while you're questing, because
Right.
it will do more harm than good. You can hold down shift though when talking to an NPC if you don't want any of the automations to go through. So if you have an automated add-on, you don't want it to activate, hold down shift when right-clicking the NPC, and it will not activate.
Something else I
and then there was
like
Yeah?
before this is if you check sell junk and repair automatically while you're leveling. These are two options I actually really like, because if you actually do need, hopefully you wouldn't need to sell more than maybe once while you level, if even once. But if you do need to sell, this will just automatically sell every like gray item you have in your bag, so you don't need to manually right click every single item. It will also repair your gear automatically, which is always handy.
Highly recommend.
Yes, you probably don't want to play with this all the time. I would, after I'm done with leveling, probably disable these, because you're not really in a rush. But for leveling, these two options are pretty handy.
And then I think you're using another add-on for this, but if you go down to system, Robin, in the add-on as well, there is also a feature for like on the add-on there where it said automation. Yeah, you will see on the right side it has faster auto loot and faster movie skip. If you check the faster movie skip as well and press on the cogwheel to the right, it should give you a function that allows you to instantly skip cinematics as well. But there's also other add-ons that can do this, but this one does it too. So that one is a convenient add-on to help you skip past a lot of things as well.
Yeah, actually, regarding the Speedy auto loot, I actually have an add-on for this called Speedy. Wait, it's called Speedy auto loot, or is it called? I have this add-on the beta right now. It's a very good add-on to have, actually. I really recommend anyone getting, either using Leatrix Plus. I have not used it myself. I am
This
personally...
one works because I don't think Leatrix Plus works perfectly for auto loot, beating auto loot. So
this one definitely works. I'm playing with this when I'm leveling. It's very simple. It just does what it says. You just loot the mobs faster instead of having to wait like a second or two for the game to loot all your items. You just right-click the mobs and the items are in your bags already. It's a very handy add-on tab. It's gonna save you some time when you have to loot mobs.
Next up, of course, we got Weakauras. Weakauras is a very broad add-on where you can do a ton of different things, right? You can track the cooldowns of all of these items that you have available. I saw that Robin made a nice convenient one with an all-in-one package that has banners, Gunshoes, gliders. You're missing, consumables if you need to refood, reflask, all of that stuff. So that's what Weakauras can do pretty much to help you with leveling and of course optimizing your DPS while questing. Just having buff trackers and cooldown trackers is kind of necessary in today's day and age if you want to play at like the highest level. So Weakauras is an add-on that can do so much. In some cases, I would say that it does a little bit too much, but Blizzard have been making changes, expansion to expansion, by limiting what is possible, and I think that's good for the game.
Yes, but I would definitely... I don't think I could ever play without Weakauras at this 5 minutes of the game. It's also another thing, actually, when we talk about Weakauras you can do. This is not anything I made. This was something someone sent me. For example, you can replace the Blizzard Vigor bigger bar. That's not what I'm gonna talk about, but I found it. But something here, for example, since a lot of the add-ons have been a bit buggy on the beta, I had a hero of mine making he made it for himself because he also wants to speed level, which is basically, you know, you can do the same you do with add-ons with Weakauras. Skip cinematics, gossip, auto pickup and turning quests. You can make it with a Weakaura. It needs basic Weakaura understanding, some custom coding. But if your add-on is bugging out, Weakauras can usually always help you. But definitely.
This gossip Weakaura, by the way, is this one based on the like quests, or is it just standard?
Yeah, that's the good part about Weakauras, that it takes a lot more. If you can see here, like you decide which gossip to skip. So we'll only skip gossips that are in this list, for example, right? So you wouldn't be skipping anything outside of questing. But it obviously
takes... actually made a campaign gossip Weakaura already.
Yes, it's obviously a lot more work. But once the finished product is out there, it might be more convenient than having an add-on skipping everything. Right?
And then you have the last add-on, which is probably the most important one. If you download this add-on, you are already turning into a 3K IO 11 out of 11 mythic raider. It gives you access to UI across all specs and classes in the game. Gives you raid Weakauras, dungeon Weakauras, and of course, is the Naowh UI. Robin, how can you get the Naowh UI?
You can get Naowh UI by subscribing either to my Patreon or my Twitch channel. It has everything you will ever need for anything in the game. Definitely worth getting and taking a look at. It obviously does not look like this. This is very bad marketing. Let me go back to... It kind of looks like this. Yes, except PvP. I will not be playing with my UI for PvP. Looks similar to this. This new fancy Weakaura will also be included whenever it's finished. Yeah, with Twitch Prime you can get this. And then we're moving on in the list to macros. Do you have any good macros, Mike? You wanna share for... I wrote 2 of them down. That are macros I am using, or will be using rather. But I might miss something.
The only one really is, I guess, like you... Yeah, I mean, a lot of my macros are just convenient macros for the classes I play. So that will be a long list. In terms of just the leveling, I think it's important to have a lot of good cancel hours. I can see that you have cancel hours for Gunshoes and all the fast mounts and things like that. I would say that it is super convenient to have a cancel hour for your Goblin Glider as well. And a cancel hour for your parachute in case you have Nitro boots and your Nitro boot fails. You don't want to be slow falling down before moving on. So canceling things like that can also be convenient to have. You can have all of these cancel hours in the same macro, so it doesn't really fill up a ton of keypoints.
Exactly, I have it right here. I don't know how I'm gonna post this in the stream chat, but maybe they will post this in the YouTube video. I can talk about the second one I have, which is a experience banner all-in-one macro. Basically what it does is that it uses your guild banners, but it priors the 15% one. And since all of these go on cooldown when you use one of them, it will never be able to use more than one. So if you have the epic one as the first one, your 10% banner as the second one, and your 5% banner as the last one, then you will always prio the epic one, which is kind of nice. So if I press it here now, it's using the 15% banner, and you can just have one macro for all of them. And then if you press it again, it will use, if the 15% one is on cooldown, it will use the 10% one and then the 5%. It's definitely worth getting this macro.
That's why, like, if you have it in the same macro, it's convenient with a Weakaura, as you can see. It does have it has 15-minute uptime, 10-minute cooldown, but you will not be in the area of the banner for 15 minutes unless you're mob farming somewhere. So then they also all have a shared cooldown, not fully. If you use the epic one, the blue and the green one goes on a 2-minute cooldown, so you cannot use them back to back. So yes, like Robin said, it's the top one in the macro you'll use first, and then the second in line, followed by the third in line. So this saves you a lot of keybinds as well, just having a one macro for all of it. Super good and convenient.
Do they stack if you use them at all at the same spot? No, you can only have one up at the same time. And as we talked about earlier, if you're leveling with your guildmates, they will also get this benefit. So you can rotate the good banners if you're leveling as 3 people. Then, you know, if Gingi here and me would level, if he uses his banner, I will also get the value. So we definitely do not want to use both at the same time because they do not stack. So let's just, and then it's also handy. I'm personally only tracking my own banners, but it's probably a Weakauras that, I know there's a Weakauras that tracks your group banners. You could also get that. I think Mike has something similar from when we leveled with this in Shadowlands, because Mike was the one calling the banners. I think you had a Weakauras for all of them tracked in line.
Yeah, I'm tracking everyone in my group's banner cooldowns.
Yeah, exactly. So we use this like all the time when we level in Shadowlands. It's definitely very, very handy to track them and make sure you use them optimally.
So
I need to be every 1 minute, but do you want to start talking about like maybe best way to level, or do you want to? Is there any? We can start with quests to prep if you want to talk about that. If there's any quest you feel like it's worth prepping.
Yeah, I mean, of course, pre-quests has been something that has been used expansion after expansion for a long time. Something you can do before the expansion comes out that you can turn in when XP gets enabled. So something you can do beforehand to get a little bit of an upper hand and to get in front. In each capitals, like in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, depending on what faction you are, there is a couple quests, actually profession quests, that you can pick up, as well as some quests that gives you some toys. There is a balloon toy quest, or a companion rather. There is the selfie camera quest as well. There is some profession stuff like cooking dailies, fishing dailies, that will give you experience, and you can do them already, and you can turn them in when the expansion launches and XP gets enabled. All of these quests are kind of in the pathway as you're doing the entry quests of the campaign, where you have to go around talking to different people before you move on to the Zeppelin or the boat if you're in Stormwind, and they're kind of in the path of where you're traveling anyway, to give you a little bit of extra XP as well. There is a lot, but this is mainly profession things and battle pet quests that scales with your level, and they aren't capped out, which means that doesn't matter what level you are, the experience gains will scale as you go higher and higher level, because they're not bound by level at all. It doesn't matter if you're max level or not, it will just keep scaling. There's a lot of quests that will not scale. Some are reduced XP. Back in the day, pre-questing was a lot worse. I remember in Legion, I think I had like plus 30 pre-quests to turn in, and I dinged 1.5 level before I even entered the new zone. It was like completely crazy. Blizzard have reduced the experience from a lot of quests nowadays, so some of them are reduced. Battle pet quests and profession quests are not one of them, so you can stock up on some of those if you want to get a little bit of experience beforehand.
Moving on, and then best way to level, I guess we can touch a bit upon. People are probably really curious about dungeon leveling or questing or solo versus group.
I would say that so for anyone that wants to level the right way, the best way is to follow the campaign and do some side quests as you're leveling. You can skip some side quests. You don't have to do every single one of them. But if you have no experience on the beta with leveling, just enjoy the ride, do the campaign, do a couple side quests on the way, and just finish the campaign. Because once you finish the campaign, you unlock the account-wide ability to do world quests and things like that when you're leveling a new character already from level 60 onwards. So that would be the most efficient thing to do, and also the thing you want to do on the first character you level in order to progress the main quest line, which unlocks things that you need in order to develop your characters. So that would be my recommendation for most people. Dungeons, I mean, there's a couple of dungeon quests you can do as well. If you want to do them, you can jump in and do a dungeon quest here and there. You will get some good end of dungeon XP as well as a bonus quest on top. There is a couple dungeons that has more than one quest for the dungeons as well. Those are even more worth to do. So I would recommend that for most people. In terms of like speed leveling, that's some of the things that I do. Just like previous expansions, I'll be going for World's First level 70. And yeah, I mean, there's a couple things, honestly. I mean, you might have known me for like maybe some Robin 2 here, for some Plague Boar strats, tech, stuff like that. But
some
to be honest,
here perma-spawning mobs in Wrath, you know,
to be honest,
some sneaky stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to do those kind of things. I want to like just outplay people. That is the most enjoyable thing to do. You know, same thing with like Legion BFA. It was just efficient and fast speed leveling. Previous expansion, it was dungeons with party sync. Because
I really hope they fixed that. Actually, that was really stupid.
Exactly. But the dungeons now, they work a little bit differently, at least now in beta. I don't know if they're going to change it, where you had to unlock the dungeon by entering the zone of, well, pretty much progressing through the campaign and then getting to the zone where the dungeon is. Then the dungeon would be unlocked. Right now, the dungeon's unlocked by level. And even the first dungeon that you unlock, which is Ruby Pools, is 61. That one carries over to level 70 through the dungeon journal, and pretty much when you go in level, let's say 65, then the mobs will be 65 in the dungeon. If you're 68, the mobs will be 68. So the dungeon scales as you level higher and higher, which means that the dungeon difficulty also becomes harder and harder as you level up in the dungeons, because you'll be stronger at lower levels than at high level. And this is where,
before we move on,
yeah, sorry,
do you know how that would work if you're different levels in the group? Let's say if I would be 65 and I would be teaming up with someone who's 61, will he see level 61 mobs and will I see 65? Or do you know how that's gonna work? Yes,
this is something that I already tested. So if there's a 67 in a dungeon and a 61, then first of all, there will be one in your group that's not eligible for any other dungeon than Ruby Pools, first of all, which means that if you queue with a 61 character in the group, you'll get Ruby Pools guaranteed when you're queuing random dungeons, which means that you are getting the easiest and the fastest dungeon guaranteed, even though you're higher level, which is something you can cheese for faster end of dungeon XP. Now we can talk about something like, which is a Plague Board cheese strat that I kind of want to openly talk about here, because it is a cheese strat that I've known about, and I know there's some people that are looking to use it. I personally do not want to win like that, and I've seen two different ways of doing it. You can either do it while questing, or you can do it by farming mobs in a specific area that has a fuck ton of mobs, and they give a lot of XP. And this requires you to play a tank, first of all, for the guy outside farming mobs, because otherwise you cannot.
Are we talking about like the insane mob density areas?
Yeah, insane mob density area, exactly. And it is in Azure Plains all the way to the left around the Dragonflight Hollow. There is so many mobs clumped up, but it requires you to consistently survive it, to play a tank class that has good sustainability. I do think something like a Prot Warrior is probably going to be the best tank for doing this.
No, so yeah,
and
to touch upon these, this is like this spot here. Actually, I've already reported. I have a content I've been reporting stuff to. I hope it will get fixed. But it's basically in this area here, you can have insane density mob pools, and you can, if you layer hop and get group invited, you can kill insane amounts of mobs very, very fast. I have reported this personally. I do apologize to anyone wanting to use this. I hope they fix it. Same, you know, I reported the mobs in this area giving more experience than intended. Has also been hotfixed. So it makes me happy to see. I also reported the chests in Sereth Mortis giving you 5k experience every time you open them. Whereas also you could layer hop and just keep opening chests. They now give 0 experience. Same, there was a bugged mob close to Tirakai. Similar to my Roker strat that actually thought about maybe I should use this. He basically spawned like 4 mobs on a 15-second cooldown. I gave 1.8k experience each. But I was like, I do not really want a repeat of Wrath. I don't want to make more people angry. So actually, I'm like, I'm gonna be a good guy. I reported it. It's now fixed. They give like 9 experience each, which makes me kind of happy because it shows that they care. I do not know if they have fixed this exact spot you talked about, Mike, here with the insane density in... I don't know what the area is called. But maybe they should just make the mobs give less XP each. Or something like that, right? So it's not...
But this is where like those strats in it itself, like the farming there, you're probably going to be looking at like 800 to 900k XP per hour from a tank that is really good at farming. You can up it a bit with layer hopping, like you said, but this is where the insane tech comes into play. So you combine these layer hop tech with, since we talked about ruby pools just now, so let's say that you have a group of 5 players, okay? And 4 of these players in the beginning multi-box levels, let's say. They level, let's say, 2 characters to 61. That unlocks ruby pools. Then you're in a 5-man group. This set tank player goes to his farm spot, Falling Flames over there. Unlocks Dragon Riding first because you cannot layer hop with this strategy, so probably better to get Dragon Riding because you need to go to different spots and farm different parts of that area in order to be efficient because you cannot leave the group. Then you have this 4-man group, this 5-man group actually, Q ruby pools. The tank goes into the dungeon, then instantly leaves. This dungeon group 4-mans the dungeon, gets to the last boss. This tank enters the dungeon, they kill the last boss, he gets enough dungeon XP, he ports out, continues farming. When everyone levels to 62, they rotate well, that's when you unlock the next dungeon right now.
I think it's 63, no? It's not 62.
Yeah, so it's actually 62 right now, even though it's listed 63 in the dungeon journal. I don't know why, but it actually unlocks at 62 at the moment. Then they rotate 61 player in every time. And then when he dings, the next one goes. So you get guaranteed ruby pools. And this tank is just farming outside while going in, getting end of dungeon XP, porting in before every last boss constantly. And he's looking at insane XP per hour. Right now, if you do it really efficiently with a really good organized group, you can probably get to max level in like an hour and a half, which is currently the fast.
I don't think you get that fast though.
It's pretty insane. Like it is crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely insane. I mean, I think that was how the world first in Shadowlands got world first, right? It was doing the same strat. It's definitely a very good strat. I don't think it's 1.5 hour fast, but maybe like 2.5 hours fast because you just get free bonus XP, right?
No, it is insane, dude. Like it is fast. It's this in combination with some other things as well, which I don't want to share. But
so you're just sharing the stuff you don't want to use, but what you want to use you don't share. That's kind of dirty.
Well, it's not. I'm not exploiting, but you complement this strategy with other things.
That's kind of weird, champ. Though, if you just want to keep your old gems and not.
No, but listen. This is like generated stuff, like completely. And you can either do it while
really sus.
Like if you're a DPS player, you can do it while questing. But if you have like a really good tank player, you know that you can do the mob farming combination with the dungeons. So like that's kind of like the fastest leveling strat I have seen. I do hope like that something like this doesn't really go through. That they change the way dungeons work, or I don't know. What would be a good way? Either to get end of dungeon XP, you would have to like tag all of the bosses in the dungeon, except if you join an already existing group, you would get the dungeon progress that the rest of the group is already on. That way, if someone leaves the group and you enter a dungeon randomly that's on the last boss, you will still get it. But it wouldn't be exploitable like this.
Right.
That would be I would hope that would be the fix.
I don't want to be that
like
guy, Mike, but if you look at my stream right now, I think they have more important issues to be working on this last month before the release of Dragonflight than fixing that.
Listen, they fixed our leveling strat an hour before for no reason other than one guy with a Blizzard contact DMing him in Discord saying, these 30 boys are doing this and I don't want to lose to them. Can you hit me up, my friend? I'm not naming any names.
Was that actually true?
That is...
I didn't even know this.
Yes.
No way, that was true,
happened.
bro.
Yes, it is. It's just
What?
someone having
That
a
is
Blizzard
actually...
contact as friend, and he went in and changed it. And this guy was also a speed leveler that just wanted to ruin our strat. But it's so dirty, man.
That is actually...
I'll write it in DMs.
Okay, yeah, sure. I actually didn't even know about that. That is actually really dirty. Because I remember this got fixed 30 minutes before the game came out.
Yeah, it's so dirty.
Yeah. What was the strat? Well, pretty much what we were planning on doing was that our entire MDI group, we were gonna speed level in dungeons at an insane pace. We had practiced every dungeon for like hours upon hours. We were probably gonna get wouldn't say an easy world first, but we were looking very, very good. We plan on not doing any questing whatsoever, because I think at the time you could queue dungeons instantly from level 50, right? If I remember correctly. I might be wrong.
Yeah, you could queue dungeons. I'm not sure it was 51, but we did our first level in Freehold in very, very quickly. And then Freehold would reduce XP gains from 51 onwards, and then we would queue random dungeons after that, all the way to max level. And we're just doing dungeons fast and efficient. Wasn't really anything fancy. It was just...
well, it's just the fire MDI boys speedrunning dungeons. It's kind of fancy,
just
no?
Speedrunning dungeons, that's what we do best, and we just did it quick, and it was a really quick strategy. So...
Yeah, then sadly, I actually think it was it 2 hours or 30 minutes before the game came out? I don't even remember how long before it was. They literally just
I remember like we already had the stream on. Yes. We were about to hype, we're gonna fucking blast the world's first leveling. We get a link to a Wowhead post. We look at it, all of us. We're just silent for like a minute. We go mute TeamSpeak and we discuss what the fuck are we doing now.
That was
so
sad.
bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
And it wasn't even like an exploit strat or anything. It was just a good strat. We're not abusing anything, We just play the game, it was a legit good strat. And then seeing that being hotfixed, that really hurt actually. I actually didn't even know that it was one guy making sure it got nerfed. But I mean, I guess it does make sense. Sad, but what can you do? Alright, anything else you wanna... So now you spill the beans on what you think they should fix, but you didn't fix your own strats here.
I mean, I can just say like what I'm already doing. I'm just gonna be questing, and I'm gonna be questing really quick. You're just gonna be seeing someone leveling the same way he did in Legion and BFA, and just with a really, really fast route. That's what I'm doing. I think that is the most exciting thing to watch, first of all, and also the most enjoyable thing to prep instead of cheesing your way. I always want to get as much cheese as possible fixed, because at the end of the day, if anyone is like just on the same ground here, no one is like winning because they found an exploit or something, but everyone just has to quest fast, be quicker than the rest, be more mechanically, play just better mechanically, go through the zones, the quests faster, doing the proper side quests. I think at the end of the day, that is what the speed leveling should be, and what I think is most enjoyable. I did also like the mob farming in the different zones, classic style.
You mean Roker?
I do think that, yeah, exactly. I do think that was pretty enjoyable to watch as well. it's not also just as easy as it look. You know, you need to practice. Even Joker D, who is known for it for Classic, you've seen him die to it, you know, many times. If just something goes wrong or a freeze gets resisted, you know, it can very easily go wrong if you're not ready for it. So, and having practiced it many times, I think that was also pretty enjoyable to watch. It was also really enjoyable to watch a pre-recorded VOD of you while you're doing exploit at the same time, so it wouldn't get fixed.
If you find the dirt, you use the dirt, bro. What can I say?
Oh my god, you knew that strat was gonna get fixed.
Yes, of
you
course.
showed it from the start.
Of course, bro.
You dirty boy. Oh.
But are you telling me if you find some dirty dirt and you know that you are gonna win if you use the dirty dirt, and if anyone else is using the dirty dirt, he's gonna win? You telling me you wouldn't use the dirty dirt?
No,
you
exactly.
would for sure use the dirty dirt.
I would use the dirty dirt, but preferably all dirty dirt would be gone. That would be.
I love dirty dirt as long as it's in my favor. Then I love dirty dirt.
True.
Okay, but anyways, before I love this talk, and maybe there's some more stuff we want to touch upon, but we kind of drifted away from like the best way to level, which is more of a generic type of thing, dungeons versus questing. We talked about it a bit. But I kind of want to finish it off and touch upon the fact that I think when you level, you should be doing the main storyline.
Yes.
At least on the first character, because doing the main storyline is going to unlock, just like in BFA, after you do it once, it will kind of become the threads of fate type of thing. You can start on your next character in whatever zone you want to start in first. Everything scales up to your level. You unlock all side quests in every zone, which are sometimes gated behind like the main storyline. Right now in the beta, some are not gated behind it, some are. I don't know exactly how it works. But once you do the entire campaign once, it becomes a lot more... it becomes nicer to level your second character. That being said, if you do the main storyline, I think without war mode, it will only take you to 67.5 with the current XP values we have on the beta right now, which means that you do want to be doing some side quests. To combine with the main storyline. I don't personally want to touch upon it too much because it's a bit like what both me and Mike are interested in, I think. I know there's a guy, what is it called, who also made a... he's been talking about what side quests he's going to be doing. I think it's the video we linked. I think it's Treefy. Yeah, I think it's called Treefy. I'll link his video here when he's doing his speed leveling. I think he has another video where he is talking about what side quests he find efficient and good to be doing to combine with your main storyline. So I don't know exactly how he levels, but if you want to look at good side quests, which is something I don't want to touch upon too much because I don't want to give any strat away potentially, you can watch his video regarding that. I think he's been leveling like 12-14 times. I think he's a very fast leveler. I think currently on the beta he's the one leveling the fastest. So go and check him out on YouTube, guys. I did link the video. That's not the video where he's talking about the side quests. This is just his, I think, player pub from when he does level to max level. But just press on his name. I know he has another video. If someone has that video, you could also link it in the stream for anyone interested in combining side quests with main storyline. Definitely worth giving a look to be efficient. And the last thing I want to touch upon is like solo leveling versus group leveling. Did you talk about this at all? If you want to be leveling questing solo, or if you want to be doing it in a group as 3 people even.
Yes, so I do think that 2 to 3 is the sweet spot. Anything above that has a diminishing return where you don't really gain much. And solo will slow you down in parts of the zones, especially as you progress into the higher and higher levels. There's a lot of some quests are shared, some aren't. It's just about finding out which ones are, and for those quests who are shared, you will be able to split up and give each other just complete the quest for each other, which just helps you. If you go into a zone, you need to open cages in 4 different areas. You split up, you're just going to be doing it twice as fast, pretty much. So having a partner or 2 will definitely help you up with the leveling. And having a good time on Discord with your friends is a lot more enjoyable. And yeah, you also free to tune in to any of our streams and just listen in as well, and just be part of you know, the chat, the community, and be part there. If you don't have anyone to be with on Discord, you're more than welcome in our channels always.
I'm very kind of you, Mike. And then the last thing I think is the last topic I actually have for this video, which was are there any benefits of actually leveling faster? And if I like, the only benefit I myself have found, of course, unless you're a Race the World first player, or if you need to level, I don't know, if you want to level 10 characters the first week, of course you want to be efficient, but depending on like what your goal is with the game, the only benefit I can think about is the fact that you have a weekly crafting quest, from my understanding. And I've been asking people about this, and it's not yet confirmed if you can actually do it before Wednesday. Because, for example, normally M0 dungeons are not available the first week, like until the first reset, you know, the first Wednesday. If you level on Mondays, 2 days until Wednesday, right? Just to not give Europe an advantage. Potentially the crafting weekly quest could be available the first week, where you get extra knowledge. But I've been asking people about this because I am not, you know, the biggest, you know, into professions myself. I think they're looking great for Dragonflight, and they have told me there's no, apparently it doesn't work in the beta now, but it could be that they will work. If you hit 70 on like Tuesday, you could do this crafting quest before Wednesday and then get new ones for, in what is it called? It's called crafting knowledge, right? I think.
Yes.
I think it's called crafting knowledge, right? I don't know.
Or research or something.
Research,
like
yeah.
It's the skill that progresses you, your specialization in the individual professions, and yeah, you will pretty much choose where you want to like get higher, either higher materials or get higher item levels in specific profession items. Right? Maybe you want to go for a weapon, maybe you want to go for a chess piece, things like that. And this is what specializations do. So getting stocked up on those early on will be able to max out your professions. I highly recommend, if you're unaware of the new profession system in Dragonflight, there's going to be a complete rework of professions in general and how they work compared to what it is nowadays. So check out some profession videos on YouTube or something. So otherwise you're gonna get hit with a lot of information and you're just gonna sit there and like, what the hell? It's not as complicated as it sounds, but you don't want to be looking at it like you haven't seen it before when the expansion actually does get released. Unless you'd like to take your time, that's fine as well. But if you don't want to be hit with a lot of information at once, I highly recommend taking some time out to prepare yourself a little bit. But yeah, thank you so much, Curseforge, for sponsoring this stream / upcoming YouTube video. Yeah, guys, check it out. Literally the best add-on manager out there. Stock up on all your add-ons for Dragonflight, as well as update your add-ons throughout the expansions. You'll even be able to download, update all of them through just simply pressing one button, or you can even search for the most popular add-ons as well, so you can see what other people have downloaded. So it's really easy, user-friendly to use. So definitely check it out.